What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name's David Hanlon, aka the Laptop Legend, and today was, I feel like I say this every day, but another wild day in the market. Now, it was a little bit more choppy than we've seen in these first couple of days. I think 2021 is kind of, in general though, off to a pretty choppy start. And there's a lot of big traders who normally have these $100,000 days who are struggling a little bit in these environments. So definitely something to watch out for. You know, you can't always be buying the breakouts like you used to, and you got to be careful not to get chopped out and really get a good entry. But if the opportunity presents itself, you got to take that opportunity, because sometimes there's stocks that just really go. And today we had some really good ones. A lot of stocks that I talked about in my previous video were absolutely going crazy today. BTCS, I think, doubled again from like 75 cents all the way up to $1.50. So that one was crazy. I got some great stocks that I want you guys to be watching on Monday. And then I also have some very good insight that I actually just kind of figured out today by making some mistakes. So I started off in the green today, and then I took some, not fat because I'm trading small sizes, but I took some, $50 losses, which added up and put me pretty big for how big I'm trading in the red. And I was able to trade back out of that by using this new insight and get back to my daily profit of today, which is, I bet you guys like that, don't you? But yeah, I'll see you guys on the other side of my laptop and just walk you through everything, what you should be looking for, and how you can use this to make better trading decisions. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, guys, so I'm here at my laptop, and this is the chart for BTCS today. And, like I said, this thing is, because of the Bitcoin hype, just going absolutely wild and continual multi-day runner, man. When this thing ripped through $1, I was like, wow, that thing's up a lot. And then it went and touched 158. So, this, you could have bought the breakout and been profitable the whole time. But in general, there's been a lot of choppiness in this market, and a lot of stocks, if you buy the breakout, which is, kind of a strategy that a lot of beginners really try to use more than they should. If you just buy the breakout, it'll end up having a massive pullback like one of these big red candles, and you'll get stopped out. So in general, that strategy hasn't been working too well in 2020, but you can see here, this stock is continuing to run. If Bitcoin continues to push over the weekend and hits 50K on Monday, I would probably bet that this is going to keep running. So definitely keep this one on your watch list. Still going absolutely ham. This is another one that is absolutely crazy. You can see here I was trading this after hours, and that's actually how I dug myself out of the hole. You can see here again. This is not buying any footlongs, unfortunately, only 69 cents, but I will take green. My green streak continues, and this one just went absolutely crazy as well. Really spiked all day long, and this is where, actually, you know what? Let me zoom out. Let me go to 1 minute chart so you guys can see. There's a lot of trend lines here, so you might be wondering what on earth is going on. But this is kind of some of the new strategies that I'm trying to figure out, and they help me figure out better places to get in the chart, because a lot of times when I'm buying these dips, because for me that proves to be more profitable in the long run. When I buy these dips, a lot of times you're buying a dip and then, expecting it to bounce, but it doesn't bounce and it keeps tanking. And it might be on an occasion like this. So if you don't get a perfect execution right on, the biggest part of the red candle, you might try to chase the bounce, be like, ooh, let me get in right here. But you can see here, this is forming a new downtrend. And I find that when there's a new downtrend that is being formed, you don't want to enter here. You want to wait, let it continue to form, see where it's going to go, and then if there's an uptrend, where they intersect and it breaks the downtrend and comes back on up, that is a much better place to enter in terms of risk reward, because if it continues down under, falls back under that, you could cut right there. Literally cut right there. So your risk is very tight. But normally, if it breaks through that downtrend, you have a much better opportunity for being profitable on that trade, if that makes sense. I'm trying to zoom in a little more just so you guys can see that. Yeah, so again, it had this downtrend here. I knew the uptrend was right here, but it was able to break through that, and that was a really good entry. I bought here, and I ended up selling, into the gains. I always sell when I see some spikes, just because you never know when it's going to stop. So in this case, I was actually rewarded for buying breakouts. This was one stock where you could buy the high of day breakout because multiple times it happened and held the gains super well. So you can see here, this was the high of day, and it pretty much held that, man. So it broke down, and it was, I guess it spiked up. I think it got halted, and then it came back down, and I was watching this down in here. Let me see if I can actually go. Yeah, so here you can see, this is actually my first entry. This is what the chart looked like back then. So you can see there's kind of this downtrend when it spiked up and then had a downtrend, but then it started forming a new uptrend. And right where that intersected is where I got in. And I actually, because I was red on the day and I wanted to lock in my profits, it actually messed up my psychology on this one. I got emotional on the trade and I took profits, I think like right in here, or maybe right in here, when it was still holding the uptrend very nicely. And then after that, you know, obviously it absolutely ripped and I missed out on a lot of potential profits because my size was bigger here because this was a better risk to reward trade than trading up in the $2 range. So this is where I first entered on this stock. And again, you can see it went on to absolutely rip, because it went all the way up to 230, and you know, after hours it just continued to rip. So I bought here when the market closed, because a lot of times stocks will continue to run in after hours when there's a little bit less resistance overhead. And you can see it was still kind of holding this uptrend here. I bought it here, and it just spiked and continued going. So really look for these trend lines, and don't be dip buying, or I guess chasing a dip buy if it's going right into resistance. So like, I think this was one area I might have gotten stopped out at originally. So like, you see this big dip candle, you might not get filled here, you might not get filled here. So you might be chasing into this, but it still hasn't really broken this downtrend. So I really need to see it break a downtrend. I would rather buy, you know, right here at the base of this candle, or right here when it's confirming over it. You know, the first candle will really get out of that downtrend. So definitely look for these trend lines. Not all stocks trade like this, but it can be very helpful. I mean, you can see it held this trend line from before, that one that I used to enter right here. It literally held that pretty much like all day long up through here. So definitely look for those levels. Super important. Again, support and resistance lines are not only straight lines, like horizontal lines, they can also be these trend lines. And if you don't have this on your broker, I mean, you should. I'm not sure who you're using, but you just go to draw, trend line, and you can put it, you know, wherever you want. It might be trading a little bit of a channel right now, man. So, I mean, you could see this, and it looks like every time it breaks up to that level, it comes back. It has a pullback, you know, breaks up to that level, has a pullback. So just interested to see how this continues to work, but I think it's going to help me manage my risk, because a lot of times I dip buy sooner than I should, right into kind of a downtrend. So make sure that when you dip buy, you're not doing that, and you get a better entry, you know, when it's breaking the downtrend and holding the uptrend line. I think that is a better place to dip buy than just dip buying because you see a big dip. So yeah, definitely be watching this stock on Monday. It's going to be doing something very interesting no matter what it is. LGHL, I think I ended up, did I trade this one? Oh, this is one that, yeah. So this is one that I lost on because I saw on my scanner that it popped up after hours, and I was like, ooh, I don't want to miss this. So I ended up buying like right here, and it just continued to fall, and I cut, you know, and then it made it back up here. But this literally, I had no strategy at all. I just bought hoping it went up. So again, buying and hoping, holding and hoping is not a strategy. You need a strategy if you're going to be day trading, because if you don't have one, you will lose in the long run. So I'm not proud of myself for that one. Definitely will not be doing that again. And you know, you learn from your mistakes, man. If you can be in the green, even if it's only 69 cents, and you're still learning from your mistakes, I would say that is a big win. JAGX, this is another one. A lot of people say there's some big news that's coming on Monday. Typically, in the day trading world, you want to buy the hype and then sell the news. And you guys might not have heard that before, but the reason for that is the news already gets priced into the stock. So no matter how good the news is, the stock is likely to tank when the news comes out. And you can see that here. If I go back a month, where was this? This was at 34 cents. So, I mean, that news has got to be pretty good, man, because this stock is already up over 1,000%. So, I mean, it could come out and say, Warren Buffett is buying us out. And, I mean, this stock could still tank on Monday. So, I'm interested to see where it goes. You know, maybe there's some incredible news that was unexpected that spikes the stock. But typically, you know, when you have news that is coming up, the stocks will spike up into that news in anticipation, and then we'll tank on the actual day of the news. So I will definitely be watching this one, but not expecting anything too huge out of it. APDN, yeah, this was one that if you guys were not watching, it's a low floater that it spiked, got halted spiking, spiked again, got halted again, and at this point I didn't want to chase. I could have gotten an entry here. I think, no, I should have got an entry on this candle right here, but I didn't trust it. I wasn't watching it too closely, and that's the lesson on this one. So in general, if you chase these, you will end up getting burned, and especially if you're trying to trade with any type of size. So this one actually held up its gains pretty well and broke out past the high of this candle, but a lot of these will they'll spike up, get halted going up, several times, 2, 3, 4 times, and then on the 4th or 5th halt going to the upside, they will gap up. So that means they open at a higher price than they closed at. So once, the 5 or 10 minute halt is over, they open up at a higher price, but then they immediately fall back down and get halted to the downside. And again, if you don't know what these volatility halts are, go watch some of my other videos where I talk about that, because that is how I made so much money on RHE. That was a beautiful trade. And this is, it reminds me of that one, because again, it gets halted going up, halted going up, halted going up, and suddenly you have a 1,000% gainer on the day. So that's the type of moves that these low floats can have. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I just didn't want to chase this one. So if you're watching the halts constantly during the market, you can get in after the first halt, and that's a good entry. But after the second, it gets risky. Third, it gets very risky. Fourth, extremely. After the 5th one, I mean, you're pretty much asking to lose money. So the thing is, so many short sellers sell into these because it's a very high reward pattern, very high odds for their success, which is also why a lot of times, well, I guess not a lot of times, it's also why very occasionally you will see these stocks that absolutely go insane. And I know I talk about GLSI all the time, but again, if we go back to this 3-month chart here, this went from, $5 to 160, because there's people who keep shorting no matter how high it goes, and eventually they get squeezed, which means they have to buy back in, and the stock absolutely goes wild. So most of the time, these people are making huge, but on a stock like that, they might blow up. They might see a massive loss. So yeah, this stock actually went crazy a little bit yesterday anyways. But yeah, so I mean, if you see the 4th or 5th halt to the upside, there are so many huge accounts with way more money than you, millions of dollars, shorting into those, because they know that they have the money to bank on that, and that the odds are way in their favor. So I never ever chase those moves. If you can get them after the first halt or maybe the second halt, it's worth it. But after that, it's better to trade, on the backside, because sometimes they can, make a U-shaped curve and continue on up. So that is what I recommend doing for those. Definitely be watching that one on Monday. We don't know what it's going to do. PTE was making some big moves, but this one was choppier than I like, so I really wasn't trading this one. GSAT, this made some decent moves, had a big tank, and then kind of a nice bounce. Big panic there and a nice bounce. So, man, again, my strategy of when you see way too many red candles in a row, be watching for the first green candle, and normally you get a nice little bounce there. I mean, that's just a big red candle. So, DLFY, not sure what that one was. I guess it's just spiky. This might be, yeah, this is a drone. This is a drone stock. Drone stocks are also big right now, so be watching that. BGI, did I already talk about that one? Yeah, this one spiked up and then just got kind of choppy, so I'm not a huge fan of this one. IPOE, yeah, you can see it had a big panic, man. It's had a big panic, a little bit of a bounce, but continued selling off. I think it's because it gapped up. It went up, yeah, in after hours. So gapped up, had a big panic sell, a little bit of a bounce, but just kind of faded off. So nothing too interesting on that one. ACEV, definitely gonna be watching this one, but nothing too crazy. CMRX, big spike up and then just kind of consolidated, so definitely could continue. CNET, I know this squeezed a lot of people. I know someone who took I think an $80,000 loss on this one. So this one also, this is a great example of when you should be using these trend lines, and you can see here. It really held this trend line well, and when you're buying the dip, like when it starts to make a new downtrend, just be careful on that, man. So like you can buy here and get a decent reward, but then if it breaks that, that's probably when you should get out, and then it starts a new downtrend. So just watch for the break of the trend line. That's normally when you want to enter, and this is just another great example of that. But I mean, this one went crazy and then just kind of faded off. So in this case, you can't really just buy the dips on this one because there's weak bounces and then it continues falling. So that's another time when you want to use these trend lines, because it's literally just continue holding this trend line. So if it breaks past this downtrend line, that would be a good time to enter. And in this case, it did a little bit, but it didn't do too much. So just be using those trend lines, man. It really has helped my trading a lot, honestly, just since I've discovered it. TSMP really did not do that much today. Just kind of bounced around, very choppy, very low volume. Still in that same area, man. I mean, it's literally as flat as a rock. So hopefully at some point with the investor call coming up in the next couple of weeks, it's gonna, you know, start taking off. But again, I'm not putting my money there until it starts making some serious moves. And when it does, then I will be banking on it as well. So that is really what I'm looking for today, looking for on Monday. So be ready for those stocks. And again, you have to watch stocks that are spiking during pre-market as well, because a lot of news comes out during pre-market. So there's stocks that will be moving on Monday that I don't know about right now. So definitely be watching out for that. If there's any stocks that I forgot from today, definitely drop them down below, and you know, we'll see what the story is on those. Don't want to miss any tickers, and yeah, definitely join the Discord if you haven't already. Link is in the description for that. We've been calling out these plays all day long, and you know, if you don't know what stocks to look for, what stocks to be trading, how to trade them, again, I'm walking through all of my thought processes on that. So definitely recommend that, and yeah, appreciate you guys. I think that's pretty much it for this video. That's my recap, my 69-cent day. Hopefully we continue on with this green streak and make it a little bit bigger, because I'd like to bank more than 69 cents in a day. That'd be nice. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, let's grow better together. Besar tu boca si te despiertas, mi tiempo también es tuyo porque me inspiras. Solo quiero que seas la única que así me mira.